The giant space station floated above the planet Concordia like a metal moon. Captain Jake Morrison stood near a large window and watched ships from hundreds of worlds come and go. Some ships looked like crystals. Others moved like living creatures. A few were so strange that Jake could not understand how they flew at all. Jake was 42 years old and had spent 20 years in Earth's space navy. He had fought pirates and explored distant worlds, but nothing prepared him for this moment. He was now Earth's representative at the Galactic Council, and today was his first big meeting. Dr. Lisa Hoffman walked up beside him. She was a scientist who studied alien life. Lisa was thin and wore thick glasses that made her eyes look bigger. She always seemed nervous around people but became confident when talking about aliens. "Are you ready for this?" Lisa asked. Her voice was quiet. Jake smiled but felt worried inside. "As ready as I'll ever be. Did you finish reading about the Krell Empire?" Lisa nodded. The Krell think they were the first intelligent species in the galaxy. Their entire culture is built on that belief. They don't like humans very much. "Nobody here likes us much," said a voice behind them. It was Lieutenant Alex Chen, Jake's security officer. Alex was 30 years old and built like a fighter. He had served in military intelligence before joining Jake's team. "We're too new, too unpredictable." Jake turned to face his team. "That's exactly why we need to be careful tonight. One wrong move and Earth could lose its seat here." The diplomatic reception was held in a massive hall. The ceiling seemed to go up forever. Floating lights drifted through the air like fireflies. Hundreds of aliens filled the room. Some walked on two legs like humans. Others floated or crawled or moved in ways that hurt to watch. Jake wore his dress uniform and tried to look confident. Lisa stayed close to his side, quietly pointing out different species and explaining their customs. Alex watched everything with the eyes of a soldier, always looking for danger. A tall alien approached them. She had blue skin and 4 arms. Her face was almost human, but with large golden eyes. This was Ambassador Thakera of the Vrexian clans. The Vrexians were traders and explorers who had been in space for thousands of years. "Captain Morrison," Thakera said. Her voice sounded like wind chimes. "Welcome to Zenith Prime. I hope your first council meeting goes well." "Thank you, Ambassador," Jake replied. He had practiced the proper Vrexian greeting. "Your kindness honors us." Thakera's eyes showed surprise and maybe respect. "You have studied our customs. That is rare for humans. Most of your kind seem to think everyone should act like you." Before Jake could respond, a loud voice boomed across the hall. "I demand the council's attention." Everyone turned to look. A massive creature stood in the center of the room. It was shaped like a bear but covered in red scales. This was Ambassador Gorth of the Krell Empire. The Krell were warriors who had conquered dozens of worlds centuries ago. "I bring serious charges," Gorth continued. His voice was deep and angry. "The human government has violated the Forbidden Zones Accord. They have built a secret military base in the Orion Nebula, in direct violation of galactic law." The room exploded with noise. Aliens talked and shouted in hundreds of languages. Jake felt his heart race. This was a disaster. The Forbidden Zones Accord was one of the galaxy's most important laws. Breaking it could mean war. "That's impossible," Jake said loudly. "Earth has no bases in the Orion Nebula. We don't even have ships that can travel that far safely." Gorth laughed. It was not a nice sound. "Of course you deny it, but I have proof." He pressed a button on a device. A hologram appeared in the air above them. It showed a space station with human writing on the side. Around it floated dozens of military ships. Lisa grabbed Jake's arm. "That's not real," she whispered. "Look at the station's design. Those support struts are wrong. Human engineers would never build them that way." Jake studied the image carefully. Lisa was right. The station looked human at first glance, but the details were wrong. Someone had created a fake. "This evidence is false," Jake said clearly. "That station was not built by humans." Gorth's eyes narrowed. "Are you calling me a liar, human?" "I'm saying someone lied to you," Jake replied calmly. "Or you created this lie yourself. Either way, Earth will prove our innocence." The room grew quiet. Challenging a Krell ambassador was dangerous. The Krell valued honor and strength above all else. But backing down would make Earth look weak and guilty. A council official stepped forward. She was from a species that looked like floating jellyfish. "This is a serious charge. The council will investigate. Captain Morrison, you have 30 days to provide evidence of Earth's innocence. If you cannot, humanity's observer status will be revoked, and sanctions will be imposed." Jake bowed slightly. 30 days is enough. We will prove the truth. The reception ended early. Jake and his team returned to their quarters on the station. As soon as the door closed, Alex started pacing like a caged animal. "This is a setup," Alex said. "Someone wants to destroy Earth's reputation." "But why?" Lisa asked. She sat down and started typing on her computer. "What does anyone gain from making us look bad?" Jake walked to the window again. Outside, the stars burned bright and cold. Maybe they're afraid of us, or maybe we're in someone's way. Either way, we need to find out who built that fake station and why they used our name. A message alert beeped on Jake's computer. It was from Thakara. The message was short. "Meet me at docking bay 7 in 1 hour. Come alone, I have information." Alex immediately shook his head. "It's a trap. You can't go alone." "She said alone," Jake replied. "If Thakara wanted to hurt me, she has easier ways. The Vrexians are traitors, not killers. Besides, we need allies right now." 1 hour later, Jake stood in the docking bay. It was dark and quiet. Most of the ships were locked down for the night. He heard footsteps behind him and turned quickly. Thakara emerged from the shadows. She looked nervous, which was unusual for a Vrexian. They were usually calm and confident. "Thank you for coming," she said softly. "What I'm about to tell you could get me killed. The Krell are lying, but you probably guessed that. What you don't know is why. 3 months ago, a Vrexian trade ship discovered something in the Orion Nebula, an ancient artifact. It's old, maybe millions of years old. The artifact contains data about the precursor race, the ones who may have seeded life across the galaxy." Jake felt excitement and fear mixed together. "What does this have to do with the Krell?" "The data contradicts their religious beliefs," Thakara explained. "The Krell teach that they were the first intelligent species, that their gods created them to rule the galaxy. But the artifact proves that other species came before them. If this information becomes public, it would destroy the foundation of Krell society. They would do anything to keep it secret, including framing Earth for a crime you didn't commit." "Where is this artifact now?" Jake asked. Thakara looked away. "The Krell took it. They destroyed the trade ship and killed most of the crew. Only one survivor escaped and told me the truth before dying. I have no proof, Captain, just the word of a dead traitor. But I believe them. And I believe the Krell built that fake station to distract everyone from what they're hiding." Jake thought quickly. "We need to find evidence. If we can prove the Krell have this artifact, we can expose their lies and clear Earth's name. It won't be easy," Thakara warned. "The Krell guard their secrets well, and they have powerful friends on the council." Jake smiled. It was not a happy smile. "Then it's a good thing humans are stubborn. We don't give up easily." Thakara studied him for a moment. Then she smiled too. "Perhaps that is why your species makes everyone nervous. You refuse to follow the rules everyone else accepts." "Is that a bad thing?" Jake asked. "No," Thakara said quietly. "In this galaxy, it might be exactly what we need." 6 months had passed since Jake Morrison exposed the Krell conspiracy. Earth's name was cleared, but the victory came with a price. The Krell Empire refused to forgive the humiliation. Several council members who supported the Krell now treated Earth with cold politeness that barely hid their anger. Jake now commanded the research vessel Endeavor, a sleek ship designed for deep space exploration. The council had given him a new mission. Ships were disappearing in the Vale sector, a wild region beyond council space where pirates and smugglers operated freely. 3 trade convoys had vanished in the last 2 months without sending any distress signals. Lisa sat in the science lab, studying data from the missing ship's last known positions. She had not slept well in days. Dark circles showed under her eyes. "This doesn't make sense," she said as Jake entered the lab. "Pirates want cargo, right? They attack ships, steal goods, maybe take hostages, but these ships just disappeared completely. No wreckage. No escape pods, nothing." Jake looked at the star map she had displayed. Red marks showed where each ship vanished. "What if it's not pirates?" "Then what?" Lisa asked. "Space monsters?" Alex Chen walked into the lab carrying 2 cups of coffee. He handed one to Lisa. "Actually, there are some pretty nasty things living in deep space, but they usually leave ships alone unless provoked. We're approaching the last known position of the merchant ship Golden Promise," announced Commander Kate Sullivan over the ship's communication system. Kate commanded the defense frigate Guardian, which was escorting the Endeavor. She was strict about following rules and procedures, which sometimes annoyed Jake. Jake headed to the bridge. Through the main view screen, he saw nothing but empty space and distant stars. "Any readings?" The sensor officer shook her head. "Nothing unusual. No debris, no energy signatures, no life signs." "Expand the search pattern," Jake ordered. "Whatever happened to these ships, there has to be some evidence." For 6 hours, both ships searched the area. The crew was getting tired and frustrated when Lisa suddenly called from the science lab. Her voice was excited. "I found something. There's a ship about 2 million kilometers from here. It's drifting, but still has power." Jake felt his pulse quicken. "Life signs?" "No," Lisa replied. "But the ship is intact. All systems are running normally. It's like everyone just vanished." The Endeavor changed course and found the abandoned vessel within an hour. It was a cargo hauler from the Vrexian clans, about half the size of the Endeavor. The ship's running lights were still on. Its engines hummed with power. "This is creepy," Alex muttered. He was preparing a boarding team. A ghost ship. Jake, Alex, and 4 security officers put on spacesuits and crossed to the abandoned ship. The airlock opened easily. Inside, the corridors were lit and warm. Food still sat on tables in the crew quarters. A cup of tea floated in the air, still hot. "Whatever happened, it happened fast," Jake said. "They didn't even have time to secure their belongings. They searched the entire ship but found no crew, no bodies, no signs of struggle." On the bridge, Alex found something interesting. The navigation computer showed an unusual jump in the ship's position log. "Look at this," Alex said. "According to this data, the ship was at these coordinates. Then suddenly it was here 30 light years away, but there's no record of using the faster-than-light drive." Jake felt cold despite his heated suit. Something moved this ship instantly, like a wormhole. Back on the Endeavor, Dr. Ben Carter studied the data. Ben was a physicist who specialized in faster-than-light travel. He was young, only 28, but brilliant. He had joined Jake's crew specifically to investigate these disappearances. "This is artificial," Ben said after 2 hours of analysis. "Someone created a temporary wormhole and pulled that ship through. The technology required is far beyond anything the Council has." "Can you trace where the wormhole came from?" Jake asked. Ben nodded slowly. "Maybe. Wormholes leave traces in space-time. Like footprints in mud. If I can find enough data, I might be able to track them back to their source." It took 3 days of careful searching and analysis. Ben worked without stopping, surviving on coffee and determination. Finally, he called Jake to the lab. He looked exhausted but excited. "I found it," Ben said. "There's a location where all the wormholes originated. It's in an asteroid field about 40 light years from here. Whatever is creating these wormholes, that's where it is." Commander Sullivan was not happy about going to investigate. Her image appeared on Jake's screen, her face stern. "Captain Morrison, this could be a trap. We should report to the Council and wait for reinforcements." "By the time reinforcements arrive, more ships will disappear," Jake argued. "We need to at least see what we're dealing with." Kate sighed. "You're right, but I don't like it. The Guardian will go in first. If there's trouble, we'll draw fire while you escape." Both ships jumped to faster-than-light speed. When they emerged near the asteroid field, sensors immediately detected something massive hidden among the rocks. It was a space station, but unlike any station Jake had ever seen. It was built from pieces of dozens of different ships, welded and bolted together in a chaotic design. "That's where all the missing ships went," Lisa whispered. "Someone is harvesting them." Before they could retreat, the station activated. A beam of blue energy shot out and grabbed both the Endeavor and the Guardian. Jake felt the ship shake as something pulled them toward the station. "Full power to engines," Jake shouted. "Break us free." The Endeavor's engines screamed with effort, but the beam was too strong. They were being pulled closer to the station. Jake could see docking bays opening like hungry mouths. Charging weapons, Alex reported from the tactical station. Should I fire? Wait, Jake said. An idea was forming in his mind. It was risky, maybe crazy, but it might work. Ben, can you overload our shield generators? Ben looked confused. Yes, but that would create a massive energy pulse. It could damage our ship. It might also disrupt that tractor beam, Jake said. Do it. On my mark. They waited until the beam pulled them within 10 kilometers of the station. Jake counted down. 3, 2, 1 mark. Ben triggered the overload. The Endeavor's shields exploded outward in a wave of energy. The tractor beam flickered and died. Both ships broke free and accelerated away at maximum speed. The station is pursuing, the sensor officer called out. Multiple ships launching from the docking bays. Jake looked at the pursuing ships on his screen. They were hybrid vessels, built from parts of different species technology. Some had Krell weapons, others had Vrexian engines. All of them were fast and dangerous. We can't fight them all, Kate said over the communication channel. We need to jump to faster than light speed. Engines need 2 minutes to charge, the engineering officer reported. We won't make it. Jake made a decision. Kate, have the Guardian provide cover fire. We'll draw them away from you. Once your engines are charged, jump to safety and report what we found. Negative, Kate replied firmly. We're not leaving you behind. That's an order, Commander, Jake said. With respect, Captain, you're not my commanding officer, Kate shot back. We fight together or not at all. Despite the danger, Jake felt grateful. Both ships turned to face their pursuers. Weapons fired, space lit up with explosions and energy beams. The fight was fierce but brief. The hybrid ships were tough but not invincible. Working together, the Endeavor and Guardian destroyed 3 attackers and damaged 2 more. The remaining hybrid ships retreated. Both human vessels jumped to faster than light speed before the station could grab them again. Safe in normal space, Jake's crew examined the data they had collected. What they found was disturbing. The station was building an armada of hybrid ships. Someone was combining technology from multiple species to create vessels more powerful than anything the galaxy had seen. This is bigger than piracy, Lisa said quietly. Someone is preparing for war. A message arrived from an unknown source. When Jake played it, a hologram appeared. It showed a woman he didn't recognize. She wore council robes but no species insignia. Captain Morrison, the woman said, you've discovered my project. I am Council Member Victoria Lang. What I'm doing may seem wrong, but I have good reasons. The galaxy faces a threat far worse than anything you can imagine. An invasion fleet is coming from another galaxy. They will arrive in 5 years. I tried to warn the Council, but they refused to listen. So I took matters into my own hands. We need a fleet strong enough to fight them. I'm building that fleet, the message ended. Jake sat in silence, processing what he had heard. An invasion from another galaxy. It sounded impossible, but he had learned that in space anything was possible. Do you believe her? Alex asked. Jake looked at his crew. Good people who trusted him to make the right choices. I believe she believes it. Whether it's true or not, we need to find out. Because if there really is an invasion coming, kidnapping ships and crews is not the way to prepare for it. The emergency session of the Galactic Council was chaos. Representatives from 200 species argued and shouted. Some demanded immediate military action. Others wanted to flee the galaxy entirely. A few claimed the invasion threat was a lie designed to create panic. Jake Morrison stood before the council and presented the evidence Victoria Lang had sent. Long-range sensor data showed a massive fleet approaching from intergalactic space. The images were blurry but frightening. Thousands of ships, maybe tens of thousands, all moving toward the galaxy. How long have you known about this? Demanded a representative from the crystalline species. Her voice crackled like breaking ice. An older council member stood slowly. He was from a species that looked like walking trees. We detected the fleet 15 years ago. We kept it secret to prevent panic while we searched for solutions. The chamber exploded with angry voices. Jake understood their reaction. The council had lied to the entire galaxy. Trust was broken. General Patricia Brooks appeared on the communication screen from Earth. She was 60 years old with gray hair and sharp eyes. She had commanded Earth's military for a decade and was known for her strategic mind. Fighting among ourselves won't help, General Brooks said firmly. Captain Morrison, Earth is prepared to commit all our military resources to a unified defense, but we need everyone working together. Ambassador Gorth of the Krell Empire stood. Despite their past conflicts, he looked at Jake with something like respect. The human general speaks truth. We face extinction if we cannot cooperate. The Krell Empire will join this defense force, but we have conditions. Of course you do, muttered Thakera from her seat. Gorth continued. The Krell will not serve under alien command. Our warriors answer only to Krell leaders. Several other species immediately made similar demands. The crystalline representatives refused to work with organic species. The Vrexians wanted their clan structure respected. The silicon-based species claimed the crisis was nature's way of pruning weak civilizations. Jake listened to hours of arguing. Finally, he stood and spoke loudly enough to be heard over the noise. With respect, you're all missing the point. This isn't about who commands who. It's about survival. And right now, none of us know how to fight an enemy this large. And you do, human? Gorth asked. His tone was challenging but not hostile. No, Jake admitted. But I have an idea. What if we stop trying to make everyone fight the same way? Krell warriors are strong and brave. Vrexian ships are fast and flexible. Human soldiers adapt quickly to new situations. Crystalline technology is incredibly advanced. Instead of forcing everyone into one military structure, what if we create mixed units that use each species' natural strengths? The chamber grew quiet. It was an unusual idea. Most military forces in the galaxy were organized by species. The thought of mixing different species in the same unit seemed strange. How would that even work? Asked a small mammalian representative. My people breathe methane. Humans need oxygen. We can't even share the same air. We'll figure it out, Jake said. We have to. Because fighting separately means we lose. Fighting together gives us a chance. After more debate, the council agreed to a trial program. Volunteers from different species would train together on a remote moon called Haven. If the experiment worked, they would expand it. If it failed, they would try something else. General Brooks promoted Jake to coordinator of the Joint Defense Initiative. He reported directly to the council but had authority to make quick decisions. It was a huge responsibility that Jake did not want, but nobody else had better ideas. Haven was a cold moon orbiting a gas giant. It had no atmosphere and barely any gravity. Perfect for building a training base where different species could work without environmental conflicts. Within 2 months, the base was ready. The first volunteers arrived from 20 different species. There were 50 Krell warriors, 30 Vrexian pilots, 40 humans, and groups from dozens of other civilizations. Each group kept to themselves at first. They ate separately, trained separately, and viewed the others with suspicion. Jake watched from the command center as the first joint exercise began. It was a disaster. The Krell charged forward following their warrior traditions. The Vrexians used hit-and-run tactics. The humans tried to coordinate everyone, but nobody listened. The whole thing ended with injured soldiers and damaged equipment. This isn't working, Alex said quietly. He had been promoted to training coordinator. They don't trust each other. Half of them don't even like each other. Vice Admiral Carlos Rodriguez agreed. Carlos commanded the new battle carrier Defiant, Earth's most powerful warship. He was a big man with a deep voice and strong opinions. These aliens are too different. You can't mix oil and water, Captain. Maybe we should just fight in separate battle groups. Jake shook his head. That's what everyone expects us to do. Give up because it's hard. But humans don't give up. We try something else. Lisa had been studying the different species' psychology and combat styles. She presented her findings to Jake late one night. You're trying to force them to fight like a single unit. But that's impossible. They think too differently. Instead, design missions where each group does what they do best. Give me an example, Jake said. Lisa pulled up a tactical display. Let's say you need to capture a fortified position. Send the Krell in first. They love direct combat and can take heavy fire. While the enemy focuses on them, Vrexian ships hit from the sides. They're fast and unpredictable. Meanwhile, humans coordinate communications and adapt the plan as the situation changes. Each species does what comes naturally to them. Jake stared at the display. It was so obvious he felt stupid for not seeing it sooner. We don't need them to act like one species. We need them to work together while staying themselves. The next day, Jake reorganized the training program. Instead of mixed units trying to fight the same way, He created task forces where each species had a specific role. The Krell provided heavy assault. The Vrexians handled fast strikes and scouting. The humans coordinated and adjusted plans in real time. Other species filled specialized roles based on their abilities. The improvement was immediate. Within a week, the different groups started communicating better. Within a month, they were working together smoothly. By the third month, they won every training exercise against conventional military forces. Not everyone was happy with the changes. High Prelate Soren led a group of pacifist species called the Luminar Collective. They controlled crucial manufacturing facilities but refused to make weapons. Soren was tall and thin with glowing skin that pulsed with different colors depending on his mood. Right now, his skin showed purple, which meant anger. "Violence is never the answer," Soren said during a meeting with Jake. "The Luminar have not fought wars for 10,000 years. We will not start now." "Then what will you do when the invasion arrives?" Jake asked. "Hide? Run? Hope they leave you alone." "We will evacuate to another galaxy if necessary," Soren replied. "We would rather leave our homes than become killers." Jake felt frustrated but tried to stay calm. "I respect your beliefs, but millions of species can't evacuate. They'll die if we don't defend them. Your factories could build supply ships, medical stations, communication equipment. You don't have to make weapons to help save lives." Soren's skin flickered between purple and green. Green meant he was thinking. Finally, he spoke. "We will consider your proposal. The Luminar value life above all else. If we can save lives without taking them, perhaps that is acceptable." 3 months after the program began, Jake organized a demonstration for the Galactic Council. A mock battle pitted the new Joint Task Force against a conventional fleet twice its size. The council members watched from orbiting stations. The battle began. The conventional fleet used standard tactics, formations that had worked for thousands of years. The Joint Task Force used something different. Krell warriors in heavy assault ships charged the center, drawing fire. Vrexian ships appeared from 3 directions at once, confusing the enemy. Human coordinators adjusted the plan every few minutes, exploiting weaknesses as they appeared. The conventional fleet never had a chance. Within an hour, they surrendered. The Joint Task Force had won without losing a single ship. The council chamber was silent when Jake presented his report. Finally, Ambassador Gorth stood and did something Jake never expected. The Krell warrior bowed his head in respect. "The human has proven his strategy works," Gorth said. "The Krell Empire supports expanding this program. We will send more warriors to train." Other species agreed. Even the cautious crystalline representatives voted to participate. The council approved the creation of the Joint Defense Force. Ships and soldiers from across the galaxy would train together using Jake's methods, but celebrations were cut short when new sensor data arrived. The invasion fleet was larger than anyone had estimated. Much larger. Instead of thousands of ships, there were hundreds of thousands. Maybe millions. General Brooks looked tired when she appeared on the screen. "Captain Morrison, even with our new tactics, we can't fight that many ships. We need more time. How much time do we have?" Jake asked, though he feared the answer. "Less than we thought," General Brooks said quietly. "The fleet is moving faster than expected. They'll reach the outer rim in 18 months, maybe less." Jake looked out the window at the defense line stretched across the galaxy's outer rim like a wall of steel and hope. Hundreds of orbital platforms floated in the darkness, bristling with weapons. Battle fleets from dozens of species waited in formation. The flagship Unity hung at the center, a massive vessel built from contributions by every council species. Jake Morrison stood on the Unity's bridge and stared at the tactical display. The invasion fleet would arrive in 3 hours. He had spent 18 months preparing for this moment. Now that it was here, he felt strangely calm. Around him, officers from a dozen species worked at their stations. A Krell warrior named Warlord Kraxus commanded the weapons systems. He had been hostile when first assigned to serve under a human, but months of training together had created grudging respect. A Vrexian navigator handled the ship's movement. 2 human officers coordinated communications. "All fleets report ready," Alex Chen announced from the tactical station. He had been promoted to Fleet Operations Officer. 60,000 ships in position, another 40,000 in reserve. Lisa worked at the science station, her eyes fixed on long-range sensors. "I'm detecting spatial distortions at the entry point. They're coming." The invasion fleet emerged from faster than light speed like a swarm of locusts. The sensors could barely count them all. 300,000 ships, maybe more, each one twice the size of the Unity. Dear God, someone whispered. Jake forced himself to breathe normally. Fear was natural. Panic was deadly. Open a communication channel. Let's see if they'll talk. A face appeared on the main screen. It was humanoid but wrong in subtle ways. The eyes were too large. The skin was silver. The expression showed no emotion at all. I am Executor Prime of the Sovereign Dominion, the being said. Its voice was flat and mechanical. You will surrender immediately. Resistance is inefficient. Those who submit will be integrated. Those who resist will be eliminated. This galaxy is our home, Jake replied firmly. We won't surrender it without a fight. Your decision is illogical, Executor Prime said. Analysis shows we are superior in numbers, weapons, and technology. The outcome is predetermined. Surrender saves lives. Maybe, Jake said. But we're not very good at doing what makes sense. We prefer to make our own choices, even the wrong ones. Executor Prime tilted its head slightly, the only sign of emotion it showed. Curious. Your response will be studied. Attack Pattern Alpha. The communication ended. The Dominion fleet surged forward. All ships, weapons free, Jake commanded. Engage! The battle began. Energy beams and missiles filled space. The first exchange was devastating. Dominion weapons passed through the defenders' shields like they were not even there. Entire battle groups vanished in seconds, torn apart by weapons that seemed to ignore normal physics. Shields are useless, Craxus roared. We need to close distance and fight directly. No, Jake said sharply. That's what they expect. Fall back to defensive position Beta. All ships maintained distance. The fleet retreated in good order, firing as they went. The Dominion ships pursued but did not break formation. They moved together like dancers in a choreographed show. Perfect coordination. No wasted movement. Lisa watched her instruments frantically. Jake, I found something. Their ships are linked. They're sharing data through some kind of quantum network. That's why they coordinate so perfectly. They're fighting as one mind. Jake felt a spark of hope. One mind meant one weakness. Can we disrupt that network? Maybe, Lisa said. But we'd need to get inside one of their command ships. Plant a quantum disruption device directly into their network. Flight Commander Maya Torres led the Raptor Squadron, humanity's best fighter pilots. Her voice came over the communication system. I can get a team inside. My people fly experimental ships that use both human and alien technology. We're fast enough. It's suicide, Alex said bluntly. Those command ships are protected by hundreds of fighters. Probably, Maya agreed. Her voice was steady. But if we don't try, we lose anyway. At least this gives us a chance. Jake hated sending people to die. It was the worst part of command. But Maya was right. They needed to take the chance. Go and come back alive. That's an order, Maya laughed. Yes, sir. Raptor Squadron, form up on me. We're going hunting. Engineer Chief Danny Wu had prepared the disruption device. Danny was 50 years old and had worked on ships his entire life. His hands could fix anything. He loaded the device into Maya's fighter personally. This is experimental, Danny warned. It might work. It might explode. It might do nothing. I honestly don't know. Thanks for the confidence boost, Maya said with a grin. She climbed into her cockpit. 11 other fighters joined her, their pilots ready to die if necessary. The Raptor Squadron launched. They accelerated toward the Dominion fleet at impossible speed. Dominion fighters moved to intercept, but the Raptors were faster. They weaved through enemy formations, dodging weapons fire that should have killed them. Jake watched on the tactical display. 3 Raptors died in the first minute. 2 more exploded seconds later. But the survivors reached the command ship and dove into its hangar bay before the doors could close. We're inside, Maya reported. Her voice was strained. Heavy resistance. We're fighting our way to the core. The Unity and the rest of the fleet continued their fighting retreat. More ships died every minute. The Dominion fleet pressed forward relentlessly, their perfect coordination making them unstoppable. Contact lost with Raptor Squadron, the communication officer announced. Jake's heart sank. Had they failed? Then the entire Dominion fleet suddenly stopped moving. Ships drifted in different directions. Some collided with each other. The perfect formation broke apart into chaos. They did it, Lisa shouted. The quantum network is disrupted. They're confused. All ships attack now, Jake commanded. Hit them while they're disorganized. The Galactic fleet surged forward. Krell battlecruisers smashed into the confused Dominion ships. Phyrexian fighters darted through the chaos, destroying targets of opportunity. Human coordinators directed the attack, exploiting every weakness. For 6 hours, the battle raged. Without their network, the Dominion ships fought as individuals rather than a unified force. They were still dangerous, but no longer invincible. The defenders destroyed 3,000 enemy vessels and damaged countless others. Finally, the Dominion fleet retreated. They jumped to faster-than-light speed and vanished. The Unity's bridge erupted in cheers. Officers from different species hugged each other and celebrated. They had won. Against impossible odds, they had actually won. But Jake could not celebrate. He stared at the damage reports. 20,000 ships destroyed. Hundreds of thousands of lives lost. And Maya Torres was listed as missing in action, presumed dead along with her entire squadron. Alex put a hand on Jake's shoulder. "We won, sir. First major victory against the Dominion. That's worth something, is it?" Jake asked quietly. "This was just their scouting force. Their main fleet is still out there. Millions of ships. And now they know our tactics. They'll adapt." Lisa approached with a data pad. Her expression was troubled. "Jake, we recovered some data from the damaged Dominion ships. You need to see this." The data showed the Dominion's history. They had not always been conquerors. Once they lived peacefully in their home galaxy. But something destroyed it, a phenomenon called the negation. Space itself was unraveling, turning into nothing. The Dominion fled, conquering other galaxies to gather resources and knowledge to fight the negation. "They're not invading because they're evil," Lisa said softly. "They're desperate. And according to this data, the negation is spreading. Eventually, it will reach this galaxy too." Jake felt the weight of this information settle on him. The Dominion was not the enemy. They were refugees running from something worse, something that threatened everyone. "How long do we have?" Jake asked. Lisa checked her calculations. "If the negation maintains its current speed, it will reach the edge of this galaxy in 50 years. Maybe less." Craxus had been listening. The Krell warrior looked angry and confused. "So we won a battle, but the war is meaningless? We cannot fight against space itself unraveling." "No," Jake said slowly. An idea was forming. It was crazy and probably impossible, but he had learned that crazy ideas sometimes worked. "We can't fight it alone, but what if the Dominion helps us? They have technology and knowledge from multiple galaxies. We have diversity of thought. Together we might find a solution neither of us could discover separately." "You want to ally with the people who just tried to kill us?" Alex asked in disbelief. "I want to save the galaxy," Jake replied, "and that means making hard choices. The Dominion thinks conquest is the only way to survive. We need to show them cooperation works better." A message arrived from the Dominion. Executor Prime appeared on the screen again. This time its expression showed something that might have been respect. "Your tactics were unexpected," Executor Prime said. "You disrupted our network. Impressive. The Eternal Sovereign wishes to speak with you directly. Will you attend a parley?" Jake looked at his crew. They had fought together, bled together, and somehow survived together. Now he was asking them to trust him one more time. "Tell your sovereign I'll meet them," Jake said. "But we talk as equals, not as conqueror and conquered." Executor Prime seemed to consider this acceptable. "Coordinates will be transmitted. Come alone, not a chance." The neutral station floated in empty space between territories. It was small and old, built centuries ago for meetings between hostile species. Jake Morrison walked through the corridor with his team close behind. Alex Chen watched every shadow. Warlord Craxus kept one hand near his weapon. Lisa Hoffman carried a data pad containing all their research on the negation. The meeting room was simple. A round table. Chairs designed for different body types. Windows showing the stars outside. On the far side of the room stood Executor Prime and 5 other Dominion officers. At the head of the table sat the Eternal Sovereign. She looked almost human, but with features that seemed carved from silver metal. Her eyes held no warmth, but unlike Executor Prime, they showed intelligence and calculation. "Captain Morrison," the Eternal Sovereign said. Her voice was smoother than Executor Prime's, almost musical. "You have disrupted our conquest. Impressive for such a young species." "We don't want to fight you," Jake replied, sitting down. His team remained standing behind him. "We know about the negation. We know why you're here. But conquest is not the answer. The Eternal Sovereign tilted her head slightly. You speak of things you do not understand. The negation destroyed our home, turned an entire galaxy into nothing. We tried negotiation. We tried cooperation. They failed. Only strength survives. Maybe you tried cooperation wrong, Lisa said. She stepped forward and placed her data pad on the table. We've studied the negation based on your data. It's a breakdown of space-time itself. Stopping it will require understanding physics we barely comprehend. One species thinking alone won't solve it, but multiple species thinking together might. We have absorbed hundreds of species, Executor Prime said. We possess their knowledge. But not their creativity, Jake countered. You force them into one way of thinking. Your network makes everyone think the same. That's efficient but limited. Real innovation comes from different perspectives colliding, creating ideas none of them would have alone. The Eternal Sovereign was quiet for a long moment. You propose alliance? After we attacked you? Yes, Jake said simply. Because the alternative is extinction for all of us. The negation doesn't care about politics or territory. It's coming whether we fight each other or not. Together we have a chance. Apart we have none, Kraxus growled. The Krell do not trust those who attack us. But even we see the logic in this. Fighting among ourselves while death approaches is foolish. Prove it works, the Eternal Sovereign demanded. Show me that cooperation can achieve what conquest cannot. Lisa pulled up a hologram. It showed a small negation incursion detected at the galaxy's edge. Space itself was unraveling, turning ships and planets into nothing. We've developed theoretical technology that might stop this, but it requires expertise from multiple species, human understanding of quantum mechanics, Dominion power generation, Krell structural engineering, Vrexian precision manufacturing. Working together, we might be able to close this incursion. And if you fail? Executor Prime asked. Then we learn from the failure and try something else, Jake said. That's what humans do. We fail, we learn, we adapt. It's messy and inefficient, but it works. The Eternal Sovereign considered this. Very well. I will commit resources to this test. But understand, Captain Morrison, if cooperation proves inferior to our methods, we will resume our conquest. The survival of the Dominion is not negotiable. Fair enough, Jake said. We'll prove you wrong. The joint task force assembled near the negation incursion. Ships from the Galactic Alliance worked alongside Dominion vessels. At first, the teams barely communicated. Centuries of Dominion conquest had created deep mistrust. The Dominion soldiers viewed the Alliance as chaotic and inefficient. The Alliance soldiers saw the Dominion as soulless machines. Jake put Commander Kate Sullivan in charge of integration. Kate had learned during the earlier training how to make incompatible groups work together. She used the same principles, assigning each species tasks that matched their natural abilities. Danny Wu worked with Dominion engineers to build the containment device. At first, they argued constantly. The Dominion wanted perfect precision. Danny preferred solutions that were good enough and quick to build. Finally, Danny snapped. Look, he said to his Dominion counterpart, perfect takes too long. The negation is growing while we argue. Let's build something that's 80% perfect but ready in 2 days instead of something 95% perfect in 2 weeks. The Dominion engineer paused. That is inefficient. It's adaptive, Danny replied. If it works, great. If it doesn't, we'll know what to fix. Either way, we learn faster than waiting for perfection. Slowly, the Dominion engineer nodded. Your approach has merit. We will proceed with the 80% solution. 2 days later, the device was ready. It looked strange, a combination of smooth Dominion technology and improvised human additions. Krell structural supports held it together. Vrexian power couplings fed it energy. The task force approached the negation incursion. Through the view screen, Jake could see it. Space simply stopped existing. Stars vanished. Matter dissolved. It was like looking at nothing itself. Deploying device, announced the weapons officer. A small ship carried the containment device toward the incursion. It stopped just outside the boundary where space ended. Activating, Lisa said. She pressed the control. The device came to life, generating a field of energy that wrapped around the incursion like a bubble. For a moment, nothing happened. Then the negation began to shrink. Slowly at first, then faster. Space reformed where nothing had existed. Stars reappeared. Within 10 minutes, the incursion was gone completely. The bridge erupted in cheers. Humans hugged Dominion officers. Craxus let out a war cry of victory. Even the Eternal Sovereign, watching from her flagship, showed what might have been a smile. It worked, Alex said in amazement. It actually worked. Jake contacted the Eternal Sovereign. We proved cooperation works. Now we need to expand this. Build more devices. Study the negation. Figure out how to stop it permanently. The Eternal Sovereign appeared on screen. Her expression was thoughtful. You have demonstrated value in your methods, Captain Morrison. The Dominion will cease hostilities and enter formal alliance with the Galactic Council. Together, we will face the negation. There's one more thing, Jake said. We need a permanent organization. A place where the best minds from all our civilizations can work together, share ideas, try crazy experiments, create solutions nobody would think of alone. What would you call such an organization? The Eternal Sovereign asked. Jake looked at Lisa, who had been scribbling notes. She looked up and smiled. The Nexus Institute. Where all paths of knowledge meet. The Eternal Sovereign nodded slowly. Acceptable. The Dominion will contribute resources and personnel. Captain Morrison, you will direct this institute. Your methods are unconventional but effective. Over the following months, the Nexus Institute took shape. It was built at the edge of the galaxy where space was quiet. The station was enormous, capable of housing 10,000 researchers, engineers, soldiers, and thinkers from hundreds of species, including the Dominion. Jake walked through the main hall on opening day. Around him, aliens of every type worked at stations or discussed theories in groups. A Krell warrior debated physics with a Dominion scientist. A human engineer showed a Vrexian pilot a new ship design. A crystalline mathematician worked with a Luminar philosopher on theoretical models. It was chaos. Ideas flew in every direction. Arguments broke out constantly. Nothing was organized or efficient, and it was beautiful. Alex found Jake standing by a window watching stars slowly drift past. Penny for your thoughts, sir? Jake smiled. I was just thinking about why everyone finds humans dangerous. It's not because we're strong or smart or have better weapons. It's because we refuse to accept limits. Someone says something is impossible and we take that as a challenge. Is that a good thing? Alex asked. Sometimes it gets us killed, Jake admitted. But sometimes it saves galaxies. The Dominion accepted that conquest was the only path. The Council accepted that cooperation was too difficult. Humans looked at both options and said there has to be a better way, and we found it. Lisa joined them carrying a stack of reports. We've contained 3 more negation incursions this month, and the researchers think they're close to understanding what causes it. Maybe in a few years we can stop it permanently. Maybe, Jake said. And if that doesn't work, we'll try something else. And keep trying until we succeed or run out of universe to save. The first class of Nexus graduates included beings from over 300 species. They had studied together, fought together, and learned together. Now they would spread across the galaxy, bringing new ideas and new hope. Jake stood before them in the Great Hall and gave his final speech. You are the proof that cooperation beats conquest. That diversity creates strength. That impossible problems have solutions if you're brave enough to look for them. Take that lesson with you. And remember, the most dangerous thing in the universe is not a weapon or an army. It's an idea whose time has come. The graduates cheered. Jake looked out at their faces, so many different shapes and colors, all united by hope. He thought about how far they had come. From enemies to allies. From separate species fighting alone to one civilization facing the darkness together.